Yes, you're welcome back again to my channel. So in this video, I'm going to be explaining the behind the design of how I created this flyer, as you can see. All right, so without further much talk, let's get down to business. So I created this flyer using Adobe Photoshop. All right, so um I was giving the team it's a Bible study, you know, whereby it's going to be used over and over time. All right. So and it was tagged as taking roots. So I've had to think about it that okay, if I'm to create a Bible study and at the same time the team is having taking roots. Obviously by that you already have a view that this is actually talking about something about root and about taking root. That's talking about root, right? So I decided if you check dictionary what root actually means is a part of the plant which attaches itself to the ground or to a support, typically underground, conveying water and nourishment to the rest of the plant via numerous branches and fibers. And another basic thing you can know about root is that it looks for source or it talks about origin of something. All right, that's the very deep down of it. And then we now have something that's to do with taking root or take root. All right, because if you say taking root, it means that's a continuous tense, right? So if you look at what take root or taking root means, it means of a plant begin to grow and draw nourishment from the soil through its roots. And I decided to think about it that okay, bringing this into the kingdom, all right, how can I be able to go about this? So I looked at it that okay, I can be able to merge both roots, finding a way to be able to make use of roots so that it still has the message of taking root in the design. And that's going to be quite a lot of work. So I decided to think, brainstorm, look at the best way I can be able to go about this. So I looked up to Pinterest and then I decided to check designs on Bible study or something. So I got an inspiration from Devon, all right, of a particular design like that, and it was actually about roots. So there was just the way he did the design, all right, and I I had to look at it that okay, I have to stay like a designer, obviously, so that the phone will know that it was a design that actually was one of the inspiration that I got. So I looked at his design. I'm like, okay, I can do something like this. And then I saw another design which I can't remember now, and on Pinterest, and I'm like, okay, I saw another one. So I picked those three designs, looked into them deeply, and see that okay, how can I do something of this into my own. So I know that I looked about it that okay, how about I have maybe like a sky kind of thing. Alright. So I decided to go to Splash on Splash. Alright, and I got this flyer, this picture. I have this picture. So it's like a desert. I just had to just search for desert. Alright, so and then I saw this. And why did I make use of this? I looked at it that okay, it gives me this sky view that I need of this blue and white. That's one reason why I chose this. And then another thing was, ground. We talked about that soil, ground. All right. So I looked at it that okay, this is actually not going to, this is not having a weight of 1080. So I'm like, okay, I can try to make use of it. So and then I decided to bring it to Photoshop. All right. So and we are having this. So I decided to blur it. I adjusted it. I take it to camera filter, and I edited it. Just do some edits there, and I didn't want to stretch it fully because it wasn't giving me the exact thing I want to do. So I decided to like, okay, let me split the picture to two. So I duplicated it and pushed it to the other side and blended the middle such that you don't get to know that it was actually meant. All right, if you look at it, you see that there's like you get. So and then the next thing I did was I had to go and download this route from pngwig.com. All right, so I just search for tree and then I have it there. All right, so and then the next thing is the theme now. All right, I first wrote it plainly, just using normal text, but then I saw that it wasn't giving the vibes of real taking root. So I'm like, okay, how about we have maybe a mock-up that can depict, you know, that can give that vibe of root or tree like. So I went to Free Pick and I checked. Didn't really get what I was actually looking for, basically. All right, but then I saw this and I decided to make use of it. So you can see it here now. So now we have this. This is giving a wood or a kind of the color and the texture of root. All right, if you look at it closely, I'm trying to zoom in. You can see it's giving that vibe. All right, so I wanted to put it in the middle, but I looked at it like, okay, instead of just putting it in the middle, why not I just push this aside? So that's why I say that it's like this. So the next thing is I decided to bring in another root. So to connect this root, all right, this one here, the top, and so I blur this down here as you can see, so that it can show that it's actually coming from the ground, from the source. So it's taking root. I know that root is known for the fact that it goes into places to be able to take source, take nutrients, just so that I can supply it, right? So and I haven't done that. I'm like, okay, I'm pushing up, all right. So and the next thing I did was okay, I think I can bring the picture of the minister. All right, so I brought in the picture of the minister. Okay, so I decided to give it an added holo on it. All right, so just that's just to just spice things up. Not necessarily you need to do that for a design. All right, and so we're moving on. All right, so the next thing I did was I had to bring in that, okay, the name of the minister. All right, so I brought it in, and yes, I make use of a brown. And yes, the font that I used for the now ministry is, let me check it again. Yes, so the font I used is GT Pro Helium. Alright, GT Pro Helium. Okay. And yeah. So and I worked on that. Alright. And the next thing is we need to now know the details about the meeting. That's when is it happening, every day, and all of those things. So I used to call this the gist of design. That's actually the gist of the design. All right. So and then I have it here as Wednesday. So it's happening every Wednesday. By 5 p.m. So I decided to split that. Okay, using the same font I use for the name here, GT Brillium. All right, and it's happening by 5 p.m. And I wrote the address here. And that's it. So the reason why I actually blur the background of the desert is simply because of the gist. That's the details. That's actually my reason why for blurring the background. And then the next thing I did was I brought in, so I needed to bring in the logo. All right, so and then that's why I saw that having just the logo like this wasn't giving the vibes. So I decided to add a brush on it, so give it a background so that the white can be able to show very well. Then the next thing I did was I decided to add an effect just to make the design look very realistic. So I added this effect, that is rusty kind of effect, so giving it that this is about roots, making it very much realistic. So I'm like, okay, can we spice this a bit up? Let's make it to be shining much more. So I had to look for this light effect and I made use of it. So it brings out the beauty of the image, the text effect, the text mockup, and even the root itself. Everything came out, and then they said that okay, we still need something more. And then even though I was done like this, I decided to be like, okay, why don't I make this thing much more scriptural, right? So I said like, okay, how does a believer take root? You need the Holy Spirit, right? Yes. So the next thing I did was that I decided to look for a dove. Yes. So and then I picked this dove, giving it an expression of the fact that the dove is the one that brings life to the root. Even though the root can dry up, the Holy Spirit can ensure that the root doesn't get to dry up. All right. So and that's very awesome. So this light I'm making use of 80% opacity. All right. So that makes it very very scriptural of everything I've done here. Taking root from the ground, and we know that when I defined root for us, I talked about that from the source, and Christ is our source. So and the expression of Christ is the Holy Spirit, right? So he can give life to the root. So even though you are down, you can be able to gain life from the spirit. All right. So and that's just how I was able to come about this design. Let me know what you think about it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.